Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Scott's Selections here for Monday, December 16th. Before we get into today's play of the day, quick reminder of what we ended up doing yesterday. We had a late video, and we ended up giving out the Bucks against the Mavericks. We took the Bucks minus 11. That game will be taking place later today. Other than that, though, just a brief update on that play. I found out Eric Bledsoe is actually going to be out for the next couple of weeks, which I did not mention in the video yesterday. Do I think it matters? No, because I think Doncic being out is just going to kill this team, and I think that DiVincenzo will do a decent job filling in his absence. Other than that, though, for the play of the day, we actually like a college basketball matchup between Evansville and Jacksonville State. And that will be taking place at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So you still have about 2.5 hours before that game tips off. And in this game, we actually like the road team here with Evansville minus 4, and that's available at minus 110 on FanDuel. And the main reasons why we like Evansville here is just based on the fact that these two teams are headed in opposite directions. Evansville enters this game on a 5-game winning streak. Jacksonville State enters this game on a 4-game losing streak. And Jacksonville State simply cannot score the ball. They're averaging 68.0 points per game, and Evansville's averaging 79.8. Evansville's just been the much better offensive team. They're also shooting over 3% better from the floor. Evansville just has the ability to create a ton of mismatches offensively, and I just think that Jacksonville State will struggle to keep up on offense based on the fact that their best player in Ware is only shooting 37.6% from the floor. Definitely not ideal for a team that's trying to handle Evansville's up-tempo style of play. Plus, Evansville is actually not afraid of the hostile environment as they are undefeated on the road this season. Purple Lace are 3-0 on the road, and they also were well known earlier in the year for beating Kentucky in Kentucky. So based on that, Evansville has definitely played in harsher environments, and they have come up smelling like roses. I think that Evansville should be able to get the job done. If you look at how the money has moved on this game, Evansville originally opened up as a 2-point favorite on the overnight. They've been bet all the way up to minus 4 market wide. It's even available at minus 4.5 at some books on the offshore markets, but I just think it's warranted. I know Jacksonville State has played some close games lately. As their 4-game losing streak, they've lost by 3, by 7, by 5 in overtime, and by 5. But if you looked at the teams they've actually played against, definitely not great to say the least. You lose to Troy at home in your last game, and Troy is 4-7. Game before that, you lose to Alabama A&M by 5 in overtime, and Alabama A&M's 2-6. Now you're facing an 8-3 team. I think this could get ugly early on, and I think Evansville should be able to win this game by at least 7. So for me, play of the day will be on Evansville minus 4, and that is available at FanDuel at minus 110. Now talking about some leans, I know a lot of people want to know my thoughts on the NFL game between the Saints and the Colts. And for my thoughts on this game, I know the total has skyrocketed from 44 to 47.5, even 48 in some spots. I'll lean to the over in that one, and I also will lean to the Saints minus 9. With the Texans beating the Titans last week, the Colts pretty much have no shot at making the playoffs, and I think that the Colts will play like it moving forward. Colts, they need a lot to go their way in order for their season to even matter, and I think that they've pretty much accepted the fact that their season is virtually over. So I don't think it really matters for them. Meanwhile, New Orleans is still fighting for the 1 spot in the NFC, especially with the 49ers losing, as now they have a potential shot at surpassing, or at least keeping up with the Seahawks, as they will look to try to get the 1 seed. Plus, there's also some history on the line here, which is why I like one of the props. Drew Brees is closing in on a touchdown pass milestone, and I believe he's 3 touchdowns away from achieving that. So some people have been slamming the Drew Brees over in touchdowns thrown today, and I think if you want to do that, there definitely is some value there, especially with the Colts getting absolutely exposed last week by Tampa Bay through the air. I think the Saints should be able to do pretty well through the air, especially with the Seer either not being at 100% or not even playing, and I think that Thomas should be able to go off. You also have Cook, who's back from concussion. Smith and Ginn are okay. Taysom Hill's always a threat. I just think the Saints have too many guys for the Colts to actually cover defensively through the air, and I think Brees should probably end up throwing for 3 touchdowns. So if you want to look for that prop, you can. But in terms of my thoughts, I'll lean to the over, and I'll lean to the Saints minus 9. I just think the Saints need the game more, and I think the Colts will fold at some point, as I just don't think this team has looked sharp at all over the last couple of weeks, and I think their season's pretty much over. Now, talking about the NBA card here, just looking around really quickly. Lean to the over in the Rockets and Spurs game. The first time they played, they had 268 points. The game did go to overtime, but at the same point, You still had over 233 in regulation. I think this game should be pretty high scoring. Both teams don't play much defense. Westbrook will be back in the lineup for the Rockets. And the Spurs, they can't defend, but they like to play up tempo, so I think this game should end up in the 240s, and I think this game will be pretty close, but lean to the over in that one. Other than that, looking at the rest of the betting card, lean to Portland minus 11.5 against Florida A&M. Florida A&M is awful. They're averaging roughly 55 points per game. This team can't score. They're winless on the season, and Portland's actually been a very underrated team so far this season, especially at home. So lean to Portland minus 11.5. But the play today, once again, will be on Evansville minus 4, which is available on FanDuel at minus 110. Other than that, though, that's going to be this installment of Scott Selections here for Monday, December 16th. Good luck to all of you and your respective bets today. Bye, everyone.